San Francisco crime is at an all-time high right now, and if you've been following this channel, we've covered so many iconic stores in San Francisco that have been in the city for decades. And now an extremely popular San Francisco restaurant is closing after 14 whopping years, and pretty much says straight up, no filter, it's impossible to run a business. For some reason in San Francisco, if you say anything about the crime or homelessness, you automatically get canceled. In my opinion, it's a really big issue that needs to be addressed. And a lot of stores are kind of leaving the area. You know, Westfield, when they closed down, they took away several hundreds of businesses right there. We're also seeing surrounding businesses, small restaurants, mom and pop stores, pretty much in a decline. We're also getting a lot of places in the Mission, for example, this area where there's bars, restaurants. It's very old school, looks very nice. Many of the stores and bars here have already closed down. It's a very sad time for San Francisco. So the crime is just absolutely getting out of hand. And this is a popular vegan eatery in San Francisco's Mission District. Like I said before, a lot of restaurants, very iconic restaurants in the Mission District are closing down in droves. And it's very sad to see, right? It's very sad to see people who spent a lot of money, a lot of time on a establishment for it to close because the city has truly neglected them. Right? There's crime everywhere. There's homeless encampments everywhere. In fact, if you open a restaurant in the Mission District, for example, and you have 5 tents outside of the restaurant, you're not getting any business. Try calling 911 or the city council. They're not going to do anything because the laws in San Francisco are just not for the business owners. And I think nowadays the business owners finally know that these laws are not in their favor. In fact, they're against them. And so many people are moving to places like Las Vegas, Texas. You know, they're going to Florida. You know, they don't want to stay here anymore, right? And like I said before, the store owner absolutely loves, you know, the restaurant, says, you know, it's really like their obligation to serve people. They like the restaurant. You know, they love making money in the Mission District, but now it's just getting too dangerous in this area. Okay. In fact, the night foot traffic is basically non-existent because it's so dangerous to visit the restaurant at night. There's also lack of parking. And people are very scared to drive their cars out because they find a place to park on the side of the street. Chances are they might actually get broken in. And a lot of customers straight up tell them that, hey, we're not going to come at night, right? It's very scary. And the economy of the Bay Area is just getting worse and worse. And what's even worse is the city just thinks it's in recovery. I really don't think the city's in recovery when customers are telling this restaurant owner that, hey, we're not coming at night when the sun goes down, because the streets are absolutely dangerous. And yeah, we could drive instead of walk, but our cars will probably get broken in. That is not a city where you want to live in, right? This is a fantastic city. San Francisco is a great city with a lot of tech, but now with all the tech leaving, it's no longer that great city anymore. And speaking of all these tech companies leaving, you're now getting a lot of the biggest real estate bubbles popping in the whole entire world, right? Now, we all know that, Hong Kong real estate, it's popping, whatever it is, but their commercial real estate is actually still pretty strong. They still have this core price value to them. Same thing in New York City. People say New York City's office properties are busting. Not really. In fact, a lot of the office properties are still holding pretty strong. Miami's office properties are actually going up. So it's really just a San Francisco thing because they really ran the city to the ground. Like, come on. Like, people aren't really asking for much, right? People aren't asking for like a new subway station, right? People aren't asking for like any massive construction projects. They're not asking for that. They're just asking to just not have tents on the streets. They're just asking for maybe a little bit more police presence. They're asking for maybe not a bunch of drug use, you know, especially near playgrounds. That's actually a thing, right? But the city just doesn't care, right? And a lot of businesses are starting to notice that. They're like, okay, if this many businesses have protested and closed and the city hasn't done anything, well, might as well just shut down now and just save me some time and money. That's exactly what people are doing, which is causing some of the biggest landlords in San Francisco to lose hundreds of units, right? Apartment owners of San Francisco, large to small, have a lot of their properties going for closure for a reason. Many of these landlords are behind on their payments. They're actually seeing building inspection fees going up by 15%. Property taxes are refused to be lowered because the city's going broke. The property tax should truly be lowered because the values of these properties are like half of the amount as before, especially for the office buildings. And then lastly, you got insurance being extremely expensive in San Francisco. There's also like earthquake insurance and stuff like that. It's getting more pricey by the day. And if you also look at the commercial side, we're seeing some of the most expensive buildings in the country going default. I mean, how can you have your biggest downtown mall with the most amount of foot traffic going bankrupt like this? In fact, guess what? Most of the people who were tenants of Westview Mall in San Francisco all said that it was plagued by shoplifting and massive amounts of crime, which they've reported constantly to the police, and the city has done nothing to it. And at this point, if the city isn't addressing any issues and there's already this many store closures, it's already too late, in my opinion. I mean, might as well just go down the path that they chose. I mean, it's a lovely city. I really want them to change it because this was one of the top cities for me to move to when I graduated. But now, with so many people leaving the city and there's barely any office workers commuting back, there's no tourism, there's no new shops opening up. Oh, maybe the IKEA, but that's one store opening after like 300 stores left. So this is no longer the place I want to go. I would much rather go to Las Vegas, Austin, and Miami, for example, to find a job. I mean, that's just so much better. And so far, a lot of these defaults are raising alarms. Okay, you already have some of the most luxurious skyscrapers in San Francisco. Go check out the San Francisco skyline. You see all those buildings. Well, half of them are on the brink of default. Many of them are missing payments constantly because the office vacancies are hitting closer to 40% at this point. And in my opinion, by the end of next year, right? Next year, 2024, January, February, March, all the way down to December, we're going to be seeing that office vacancies slowly rise up to 50%. Easy. All right, we're going to see even more defaults. And it's crazy, right? You also have San Francisco dying. It's in a massive doom loop. And look at the before after, right? Before, you got this pretty nice CVS in this historic building, and now it's completely closed. Same thing with the Office Depot. Not really sure why it's under a parking lot, but hey, now it's fully closed. These are just one of two, stores. But if you check this out, this isn't even updated, right? But it just shows you how many high-end big stores have closed down. Even the movie theater is closing down. Uniqlo and H&M, these aren't even expensive stores, and they're supposed to get a lot of business, have closed down, which I'm sure is due to intensive shoplifting. We're seeing Coco Republic, Crate and Barrel closing down as well. The Park 55 one is crazy because they defaulted on like $700 million worth of loans, which is absolutely crazy. Walgreens are being chained up. Their freezers are chained up so people don't steal ice cream. I don't see how this city is recovering when all this different crazy stuff is happening. I mean, San Francisco just looks like this all the time. Just people just robbing tourists. It's so quick, too. It's like a really quick smash and grab. They go in, grab the bags, they leave. I mean, look at these tourists here. I feel bad for them. They literally stop their cars next to the beach, which is supposed to be a good area, for this 10 minutes, comes back. All their belongings are gone. This is absolutely insane. No wonder tourists don't want to come here, right? This is basically word of mouth. I'm pretty sure they go home. They're absolutely mad, and they call the police, and I guarantee the cops wouldn't do anything, right? It's just crime infested. It's lawless. There is no enforcement of the law here, which is very, very sad. I mean, straight up, just people going to like CVS and just putting it in the bags, Like, San Francisco really needs to start changing things up, okay? If they don't start changing things up, I think more and more of this crime situation will go up.